That's why they were saying like they're getting semaglutides, but they're not eating the correct foods. That's another reason why they're starting to have issues.
It all boils down to lifestyle changes, and I think the semaglutide helps a motivated patient to go the lifestyle changes. I mean, the ones we hear about are like on the news are like Hollywood and, trying to get this six pack and all that. But I think, that really misses the true point of the medication because obesity, I mean, let's face it, it's the biggest health threat we know of.
Yeah, because it causes so many other diseases or disorders. So it's something to look into, something in the sense of losing weight just to be healthier. But even without the medication, you can still lose weight. You can eat healthier. Healthy lifestyle is what's going to help.
Right.
Because even if you take the medication and you still have bad health choices, bad nutrition choices, you might not, get as healthy or lose the amount of weight you want.
And then the key is, you really don't need to be on it forever. You get off of it once you achieve a desired weight, is my understanding. But if you go back to your old habits, it starts all over again. Yeah. And so Popeye's chicken, I'm sorry. No, I'm still gonna eat Popeye's chicken.
Let it's priceless, take it to the moon. Priceless, one day will be soon. Let it's priceless.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of D-Talk with Dr. Pham and Alex, co-pilot. So today we're gonna talk about, an interesting topic. But before I start all this, I need to, put the disclaimer. Everything we talk about on this show is really our opinion. And we kind of do this as a public service so that people kind of educate people a little bit on urologic disorder. And we purposely don't go into treatment details and all that because the whole goal is just for patients to have enough information that they know the right questions to ask and, and kind of the point here is not to try to self-diagnose and treat. But if you think you have some of these symptoms, then it's a good idea to get it checked out with your doctor. And if a specialist is needed, like a urologist or whatnot, then they can refer you to one. So this isn't meant like, for you to have to go to Crescent Urology or, the whole point is wherever you are at in the world, it's just because now we all know when you go on Google, it's funny. I was just talking to the producer of the show. It's like when you go on Google, everything you type is like you have cancer. And so it's like and so Google is a double-edged sword. You kind of have to know what you're reading, and so the whole goal of us doing this, starting about 6 months ago, was to kind of debunk a lot of myths and all that, and so and obviously, most important thing, subscribe so that, we know that people are actually enjoying the show, listening to it, and that'll give us a momentum to keep going. Mm-hmm. Anything you'd like to say, Alex, before we go in?
Nope, that's good.
All right. So we're going to talk today about something that is kind of taking the whole weight loss game to a new level. Mm-hmm. And I think it all started, I think, with Ozempic, which is and you guys there's a lot of semaglutide, which is the drug name of it, that there's a lot of groups, forums that talk about the semaglutide. I mean, it really is a game changer. Mm-hmm. We have so many patients that are on it, and they literally is killing the bariatric surgeons,
Yeah, because I mean, to them, it would be easier just to take a shot at home and start losing weight.
Right.
And going without the risk of surgery and complications or anything like that.
Yeah. And so we actually talked to a lot of patients and friends that are on the semaglutides. And so Ozempic was FDA approved, I think, for
Type 2.
diabetes.
Yeah.
Type 2 diabetes. And then, because I remember the commercial, it says that on the Ozempic commercial, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember seeing the Ozempic commercial where it says that, you know, it was for diabetes and you may see a benefit of weight loss,
Yes.
but it is not, that's not what it's FDA indicated for.
Yeah.
And then I think from there, other drugs got approved like Wegovy. And so
So currently that's the only one, I think,
that's approved
that's
for weight
FDA,
loss.
yeah. Approved.
And so what we're going to focus on really is how semaglutides and urology kind of, where it kind of meets, you know. And so now we're not semaglutide experts. So you know, but for those who don't know, semaglutides is a class of drugs that basically acts on the glucagon receptor in the brain that kind of suppresses your appetite and your cravings. You know, I'm pretty sure the pathophysiology is a little bit more complicated than that, but that's generally how it works. And from patients that we see for urology and from friends and coworkers that are on it, we talk to them and there's very little negatives about it.
Yeah, the things that I've seen is constipation, nausea, and maybe occasional headaches.
Right.
But not really, like, I don't see that they are complaining about any more issues.
And I'm you know, I don't prescribe it obviously because that's kind of outside of my realm, but you know, it affects urology in a sense that, in a good way, is, you know, obesity is that's a epidemic that is, you know, obesity just leads to everything. From knee problems to heart pressure, blood pressure, diabetes, you name it, you know. I had a friend recently that I called. He's a bariatric surgeon here in town. He's pretty busy. And I wanted him to see a patient before I would do penis surgery on, you know, just so that, you know, basically, even when I bring the penis out, but if your penis is just so large, you know, you're still gonna not be able to
hold it.
To hold it and to see it. And so I asked him if he can see that patient in a 2 or 3 weeks, you know, just instead, you know, because I'm thinking like, you know, the wait time's like 5 or 6 months, something like that. And I was shocked. He literally told me, he's like, oh, I can see him the next day. And I was like, seriously? And he told me, he's like, yeah, business has been really slow. And he told me, he's like, Ozempic is just, it's just killing a lot of surgeons, you know, because patients now are opting to go with the semaglutides.
Yeah, I remember one of the nurses was saying that the bariatrics surgery has gone drastically down. And she was saying that having bariatric surgery caused her a lot of problems, like, you know, with your absorbing the right amount of nutrients, digestion, and all of that. And so she was saying that the semaglutide, she didn't have any issues with it and she liked it. And, you know, she doesn't have to deal with complications from I don't know what she had, but, you know, from bariatric surgery.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, no surgery is without risk, you know, and bariatric surgery, you know, depending on what you get, you know, there's a lot of, I mean, we know that the bigger you are, the higher the risk of everything, from diabetes to hypertension to whatnot. And I was talking to one of my buddy who's a orthopedic surgeon, and even he says that his volume for knee replacement has gone down. And spine surgery, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it all boils down to the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get that weight off, it's like, you're not having a lot of pressure on the
On
knees,
knees.
on the spine.
Mm-hmm.
And so, interestingly, though, I was talking to a nurse, and she told me that she actually gets her medication compounded. So, which makes it a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Like, I didn't know you can get it compounded, but apparently, yeah, you can get it
Yeah.
compounded. So,
I didn't know that either.
yeah. And so, what that means is, like, basically, when you compound it, it's kind of like a generic is available,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think here in the next couple of years, we're probably going to see a lot of semaglutides get approved
Mm-hmm.
for weight loss, which is a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
obesity is it's rampant,
Mm-hmm.
and
And that suppresses like your cravings and all of that. So even if you do get like, let's say, bariatric surgery, a lot of these patients still want to eat the way they did before.
mm-hmm,
So what happens is if your stomach goes from this size to this size and you still eat the same, you're going to rip the suture line or where the staple line is,
mm-hmm.
and then you're going to have more complications. So
Because I
even
think
though,
you've assisted in those type of surgeries.
yeah.
That's what I
So
remember you telling me that.
yeah, so that's why they have to like go through, I think like they have to get like ed- educated on nutrition
Mm-hmm.
and how much they can eat, because it goes from like 100% down to like maybe 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So to them, so let's say like you eat a lot and then next day you can only eat very little, like smaller than a kid's meal or a kid's meal.
Mm-hmm.
Like to you it'll be like way off, way different. And so the mindset is, this plate is too small, I want more,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to eat more, and I have all these cravings still. I still want sugar, I want to drink sodas, and
Mm-hmm.
all of that has an issue after surgery also.
Right. And I mean, food is an addiction. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, especially like we live in a world where everyone's so busy, and so it's hard to get, home cooked, nutritious
Mm-hmm.
meal. Not just even if you have time. I mean, you see how expensive these
Yeah.
organic foods are. I know that you raise chicken.
Yes.
The price of eggs has skyrocketed, but
Yeah.
yeah, and they do. This is off topic a little bit, but Alex raises chickens for the eggs, and they do taste better. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, than the store bought. But I don't know, is that a mindset? But
Yeah, well, they look different.
they do.
Like the yolk looks, I guess, healthier in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like it looks more nutritious. But I help Erin, but she's the one that's all about the chickens
No,
and
it's
taking care of them.
it's like it's awesome that but it's just right now fast food is so convenient.
Hmm. But even if you go through fast food, it's if you order a salad, it's like double the price than chicken nuggets.
Yes. And so, right now the economy, is a little bit on shaky grounds. No one knows where we're headed. And so everyone is kind of, or patients anyways, they're kind of holding off on a lot of stuff. And so, but having a medication that basically decreases your craving
Mm-hmm.
will cut your food price down. Now, obviously it's not approved in children below 12 years of age, so it's 12 and above.
Mm-hmm.
And so rightfully so, but golly, pediatric obesity is
That's
rampant.
bad, yeah.
Yeah. And, and over time, as you keep building weight, more weight, the blood vessels get, coated with all these cholesterols. It's not
Yeah.
like you can just turn back time with a switch,
Mhm.
And so I think the semaglutides is a good thing,
Yeah, especially if you do have diabetes as
Right.
well. Because how many patients have we seen that are diabetic? We do surgery and they have a hard time healing,
Hmm.
you know? And especially, if we do, well, we don't do podiatry, but if, a surgeon is doing podiatry, that's, you know, the furthest body part from our heart. So they have a very poor vascular
Hmm.
system. So it's really hard having diabetes. And if you can prevent that, like children have obesity, right? By the time they're 18, they might have diabetes already.
Yeah.
So if we can start preventing that when they're little, it's only going to get better.
Exactly. And I've never really traveled to Europe. I don't know if you have, but it's just but I have traveled to like, Vietnam and
Hmm.
stuff. And the portions over there, in Vietnam and Europe, from like talking to multiple people, their portion is
It's
like
like half the size that we eat.
yeah, or if even maybe one third.
Hmm.
And so when Europeans come over here and when they order, there's I think a lot of them are shocked at like just how much food
Hmm.
they actually are getting,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy how advanced medicine has become. But if you can't treat the underlying source, which is the obesity, that I think that's a big, only time will tell. But I think years from now, my prediction is that with semaglutides and people actually being on it is actually going to drive down the healthcare costs because patients will be less sick,
Hmm.
need less surgeries and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now there is just drawbacks. So semaglutide is not like a miracle drug.
Correct.
So basically, I think if you have like syndrome like MEN, a thyroid cancer, you can't take that.
Or history like pancreatitis.
Yeah, history of pancreatitis, because and then it can delay gastric emptying and bowel movements. So
I was listening to the news and they said that there's been like a handful of people that have experienced gastric paralysis. And they can't reverse it.
oh, so, wow,
Yeah,
like
so
it's
they're having,
permanent.
yes.
Wow.
So they're having issues with the food that's not moving.
So after they
It's
stop the medication, it's like
I think it
irreversible.
was just very slow,
Hmm.
but they were just having a really hard time.
Right.
Yeah. And I was they were also saying the report was that if you are on semaglutide, you're supposed to be eating healthy.
Right.
So you can't be eating like Popeyes, like fried chicken or anything, because it doesn't.
I don't think I can go on the semi-glutides. Popeye's
Because
fried chicken is good.
it's hard for your body to digest it because it's slowing down
Hmm.
the process of your food getting broken down. So that's why they were saying like these, they're getting semaglutides, but they're not eating the correct foods. So that's another reason why they're starting to have issues.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
it all boils down to lifestyle changes, and I think the semi-glutide helps a motivated patient to go the lifestyle
Hmm.
changes, I mean, the ones we hear about are like on the news are like Hollywood and, trying to get this six pack and all that. But I
Hmm.
think, that really misses the true point of the medication, which is, especially like Wegovy, which I think is specifically indicated for weight loss.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
because if you think about it, if you lose weight, it's better. It's not so hard on your joints to start moving and being active,
exactly.
right? To do exercise.
Right.
So it is like a little boost to help, patients try to get into that healthy lifestyle.
Right. And so, and I don't know the incidence of the pancreatitis and gastroparesis and all that, but I'm assuming it's going to be low, you know, from the amount of people that actually have it
Yeah.
to the amount of people actually taking it. But, you know, time will tell, just like with anything, because it's kind of a new era, I guess. But so far, I think it's doing good, because I remember a patient's dad last summer told me that when school started last August, he went back to school. You know, he took his son to school, and then, you know, they have those parent-teacher conference. And he said, oh my gosh, he said when he went in there, everybody was like skinny. And, you know, and some people don't like to admit to, you know, taking it, which I don't think there's any shame in doing it. That's, you know, if you're doing it for your health, that you know, kudos to you, you know.
Yeah.
But some people are just embarrassed about it, whatever it may be. There, yeah. And so I guess he was saying that a lot of them were like, no, we were just exercising really hard in the summer. He was like, no, you guys were not. There's no way you can lose that much weight in
Exercising.
in exercising. And remember, weight loss, 30% is exercise, 70% is diet. You can exercise all you want, but if you're going home after that and chugging down
2-liter Coke.
Yeah, 2-liter Coke.
It's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, even if it's Diet Coke with 8 pieces of Popeye's chicken, that ain't gonna work. And so he was like, "No, there's no way. You guys are, you know." I mean, obviously, if you drop 40 pounds in 3 months, you're probably not diet.
Yeah.
You know, you either have to be in a North Korean jail where you know they're not feeding you, but no, that's just not going to be possible.
Yeah.
But you know, the other thing is, you know, I think optimal weight loss should be around maybe 2 or 3 pounds a week. I think if you lose it too fast, then you're going to have, you know, those skin stretch that
doesn't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw online that they're calling it semaglutide phase or something like that. And it's when you lose weight rapidly and you don't let your skin you know, conform with, you know, in a certain good amount of time, you're just having saggy skin.
Right.
So even on your face, it's making you look older. Even though you're losing weight, but you don't look good because you have all saggy skin. Yeah.
So if you lose,
that's if you lose like really fast.
Right. But if you lose slowly, then what you're saying is like
it
gives the body time to kind of reconform. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, and so I guess that's why patients on gastric bypass and stuff, they have to get, you know, the excess skin
cut off,
because it's such a rapid weight loss that, you know, and then, you know, like I don't have any personal experience with Ozempic. Do you, Alex? Or yeah, like this is what we're telling you guys just from friends, family, and patients that have told us. And one of the things that they also talk about is you kind of have to force yourself to eat the protein. Otherwise, you're going to start losing muscle mass.
Yeah, I did see that. That they were saying, like, if you don't work out or eat enough protein, it'll start eating your muscle.
Yeah.
And your muscle mass will go down.
Right. And then obviously you're not eating enough. You're not going to have enough vitamins and all that to be absorbed. So then you're going to end up with hair loss was one, you know. And so, you know, like I said, semaglutide is not a miracle drug in a sense, like, you know, like that. But I think it's definitely on a right track to get the obesity down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obesity, I mean, let's face it, it's the biggest health threat we know of.
Yeah, because it causes so many other diseases or disorders, you know? So it's something to look into. It's something in the sense of losing weight just to be healthier. But even without the medication, you can still lose weight.
Right.
You can eat healthier, and healthy lifestyle is what's going to help.
Right.
Because even if you take the medication and you still have bad health choices, bad nutrition choices, you might not, get as healthy or lose weight, the amount of weight you want.
Oh, I totally agree. It's not, I totally agree with you on that, Alex. Like, it's not here you take this and then you get to do whatever. You still have to be compliant, but at least it's a starting point for you to be compliant because, you go to the gym just like me, like the first few weeks, you really don't see any changes. So you're like, I don't see that muscle. And until you start kind of seeing that muscle, then it kind of motivates you. And so I think the semaglutides, initially is probably not going to be the best, but then, from everyone I talk to, it takes a little bit of time for it to, and you have to find the right dosing too,
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to play around with that with your doctor. And then once you reach that medium, then you start getting on the scale and you start seeing the weight go down.
And then you get excited, then you feel motivated.
Yeah, you feel motivated.
Yeah, so.
And, I don't know the cost of these, but one of the nurses I talked to, she told me she gets it compounded. And so she said she's on 5 units once a week. And I think she told me it was like around $100 a month, something like that.
Yeah. She said that she paid like a little or 500.
Yeah, for almost
and it
6
lasted,
months.
it lasted about 6 months.
And, and it just depends on how much weight you need to lose, But I think the money you save on food with that is worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your health. So losing weight, getting a little healthier, like that, the cost of going to the doctor, having to take, medication for like high blood pressure and all of that also, is going to be affected.
I didn't think about that. But yeah, you can be off these medications that, which is going to be, if you add everything up, I'm pretty sure it's going to be more expensive than the price of a compounded, semaglutide. Yeah. And then obviously if your insurance pays for it, then that's even better, And so, but yeah, I think from a urologic standpoint, I think the semaglutides is definitely an option when I do, obese patients where it's, it's surgery that's elective, but basically, the patient just can't, it's not, like realistically, you come in with a BMI of 40, realistically, I can't just tell you, okay, you need to go lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds and then come back and we'll talk about the surgery. Those patients also have like a ton of other issues.
Yeah.
Knee problems and all that because of the weight. And so I think it definitely is a good thing. Now, whether all of these metabolic issues, it's definitely going to be less surgeries for the bariatric surgeons. Definitely I can see for spine surgeons, knee surgeons, foot surgeons. For urology, I don't know. Like it really doesn't grow a penis, so we're still good there. But time will tell whether we see an increased incidence in kidney stones.
Yeah.
With all this metabolic disturbance, any sort of metabolic disturbance can lead to kidney stones. And so
I wonder if, because it curves your appetite, I wonder if these patients or, people are not drinking enough water or fluids as well.
That is a very valid point, because the number one cause of stone is just really dehydration. And, and so are they really drinking enough fluid? Because from one person I talked to, she says every time she eats or drinks, she gets a little bit nauseous, which kind of
Oh,
makes them like not
not
want
want
to.
to.
Yeah, so that's why she was like, and I'm not sure everybody who's on semaglutide have that same effect, but so she kind of have to force herself to eat and
Yeah, and if it's making you feel full, after a couple bites, I wonder if, drinking a whole bottle of water is a lot for them.
yeah, that and I mean, I'm assuming it's curbing your appetite. So, water is still a form of nutrition intake, whether, even though it may not have like the traditional nutrients, like, but there's
It's still
water.
filling up your
Yeah,
stomach.
it's still filling up your
Yeah.
stomach, and it's still gonna be delayed in passing through, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see. But I think from a urologic standpoint, I guarantee you there's probably gonna be increase in stones.
stones, yeah.
Yeah, because of well, I hate kidney stones, so
I don't like them either.
I don't like them either. But I think for urology, we'll probably it's not going to really affect much,
The-
except do good.
Yeah.
Because operating on somebody who's skinny, the outcome's always going to be better than operating on someone that's
Yeah, obese.
obese, and so that's our kind of our take on semaglutides, because we're seeing it just pop up everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, like we're in studio, and then Alex told me that. Well, you can tell.
Oh, yeah. Outside the girls' bathroom, there's a sign that says semaglutide, third floor, or something like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, and then I saw another, I think downstairs, there's another office that says semaglutide.
Yeah, and so now there's, and I'll kind of leave it a little bit with this, and so just like with testosterone clinic was just popping up everywhere a few years back, and so you kind of have to be careful when you go to these clinics, really do your research, because there's a lot of side effects that potentially could happen. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. You really need to make sure that whoever is prescribing and treating you, understands
Yeah.
kind of how to manage the complications and stuff like that. But an interesting combination is they would give you growth hormone to kind of counteract the effect of so that you end up eating the proteins and stuff, and so I mean it's uncharted territory, so it'll be interesting to see, and and it's expensive. Growth hormone is going to be very expensive, and especially if insurance is not going to cover it. Insurance, they don't want to cover anything.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and so
Even like medication that you actually need.
yeah, even medication that you actually need with the doctor's documentation and everything, and they're like, they just don't want to cover anything, And so we've been seeing a slowdown in kind of volume, at least here in Houston, from every hospital we go to. Like they're all saying, like, compared to last January or February, the volume is just
Been really low.
yeah, it's been really low, and so that'll kind of
Be
take
our
us
next episode.
yeah, that'll kind of take us into the next episode, into marketing, and kind of why marketing is important to a doctor's practice, and and this is kind of just an intro to it, but I think it's an integral part of growing a business. Is you got to have marketing. And I'll leave with this, and then Alex can leave her final thoughts. But, the way I look at it is you can be the most amazing doctor ever, but if people don't know about you, then basically you're in non-existent. And now in a tech-driven world, if you don't have an online presence, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's something we'll talk about for business owners and stuff like that. Kind of what we went through when I started Crescent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my thing for semaglutide is just try to be healthier, change your lifestyle, and that's going to help a lot.
Right. And then the key is, you really don't need to be on it forever.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. You get off of it once you achieve a desired weight, is my understanding. But if you go back to your old habits,
Yeah.
it starts all over again. Yeah. And so Popeye's chicken, I'm sorry. No, I'm still going to eat Popeye's chicken. But anyway, last but not least, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Click the subscribe button to let us know that you guys, that this is beneficial, and we enjoy doing this. Mm-hmm. But if people don't subscribe and give us some sort of metric to keep going, then we won't be able to keep going. So once again, thanks for tuning in to another episode of D-Talk with Dr. Pham and Alex, and signing off.
We gon' do it like it's priceless. Take it to the moon. Priceless. One day will be soon. Like it's priceless.